Friends and enemies, welcome to the first ever CBP in-house stream here with Huddle D. But what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? Cheers. Oh, we cracked that open.
What are you drinking? I didn't even ask you.
We got a Pilsner, Common Language from Click the Birds, local to the Ontario.
Not. So this is another chairs are too far apart. I'm drinking a hazy state. These are actually my uncle who got these sent to my house yesterday. I think I was supposed to save some for Christmas. Anyway, thanks for coming. Let's do the sponsors first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Easy DNS. What do you know about Easy DNS? How much do you know about that?
I don't know jack shit about Easy DNS.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, they've been a CBP sponsor for almost a year now. I think this is year one here, just coming to an end. They host our website. You ever go on our website?
Yeah.
The answer is no. Fine. Doesn't go on the website. They host our website. They got a bunch of other shit going on. If you want to host the website there, Mark will help you. Mark actually bought nodeless.io. So if you want to go run a nodeless implementation, even though the government told UTXO to take it down, you can do it through them.
Yeah.
Gangster.
He released it. He's like, just take it.
He's like, take it.
Yeah.
It's on GitHub. What are you gonna do? Tell me no. So he did that, which is sick. You can go get your stuff posted on Easy DNS. Go there, tell them we sent you. Code is CBP Media, I think. Pretty sure it's CBP Media. I don't know. But anyway, go there. Mark will help you. And actually, he's in the live chat most of the time. If you want to talk to him on a Monday night, you can't beat that. So
shout out Mark.
Yeah, we love Mark. He'll be here Friday. And then what else do we have? Bull Bitcoin. What do you know about them?
Canada Post.
Are you a Bull user?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's like rocking a Bull Bitcoin thing. So we've been on with them for like 6 months. They've been crushing. France has been crushing. I just did the Your Life, Your Terms podcast this morning, and Tom was telling me after that at the real estate event he had in, when was it? In the summertime. So jokes. He's like, people were coming up to me after, like whispering to me that they really like Francis. They're like afraid. I'm like,
yeah, the Quebecers, you know.
Listen, Francis is like an extremist, I think.
Yeah.
It's in all the best ways.
Of course.
And the Bull Bitcoin guys are great. They're in the chat most of the time too, which is sick. So if you want to use them to buy your Bitcoin, go to the post office, KYC free. You can't fucking beat it. I want Bitcoin.ca. Mark helped us with that too.
Nice.
Bought a domain.
Wow.
We're hoarding them now.
Mark sounds like a really cool guy.
He's as good as it gets, dude. He's as good as it gets. You got to get to know him. So anyway, those are the sponsors. We don't really have a rundown for today. I told them to make the
fake till you make it type deal.
Yeah, I told him to make the thumbnail like, I don't know, half an hour before I called you to tell you to come over.
Right.
And I told him to put Bitcoin in 2024 on there. I got the idea from the show I did this morning. Tom was asking me what I thought Bitcoin was going to do in 24.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot going on in Bitcoin. I don't want to jar you about like the ordinal shit that everyone else is asking you about.
Yeah.
So
I haven't heard of him.
Yeah, of course.
I'm just kidding.
They're warranty you.
Yeah.
I want to start with the ETF side.
Sure.
Do you have an opinion on this? I have my own opinion. I'll share it with you. But
Yeah.
I'll do yours first.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, for me, I'm obviously gonna always chill self-custody because people are getting so excited about the ETF and everyone wants to pump their bags, and I get it. Bitcoin US ETF is gonna pump your bags. I get it, but would you ever buy it, or would you recommend it to someone? I would say probably not.
Why not? Why not?
Well,
There's someone you recommend it to, right?
No.
Not a top of the funnel thing for you?
No.
Really?
Well, sure. If you want to buy $100 worth, then you can't afford like an on-chain fee. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. But I mean, like, I think the ETF is great for the short term, but it's bad for the long term, right? It's going to be a Mt. Gox like 10x from here. You're gonna get half the people that are investing in this BlackRock ETF, Fidelity, whatever, and then eventually they're not going to have the bit. Maybe they will have the proof of reserves, which I really hope they do. Mm-hmm. But I think it will end very poorly for people in like maybe a decade or two. I don't have an estimation on when they're going to get totally fucked. But I think and at some point they will get fucked, right? Like paper Bitcoin, they settle in cash. They don't give you spot Bitcoin, nothing. You don't interact with Bitcoin at all. All you do is buy stock on Wealthsimple, and it's just in your fake, IOU account, right? So yeah, maybe if you're just getting started and you already have a Wealthsimple account, you've been investing in NVIDIA like Joey over here, and just want to add to your portfolio. Sure, I mean you can benefit from the appreciation, but in the long term, I don't think it's a viable solution.
What about the on-chain fees thing? That's the first time I've heard anyone mention that as an almost use case. Like if the fees become too high and self-custody for the little transactions becomes difficult, it's hard for me to imagine a world where that becomes the base case though, because you probably have exchanges that would at least do the IOU thing for you until you want to do self custody and you know do
Right.
a little UTXO maybe like million sat minimum or something like that. I'm looking at the sound here. It's funny. You guys sound like you're on speakerphone when using a cell phone. It sounds fine to me.
I'd say my mic, it does sound like I'm on speakerphone a little bit.
Does it really?
Yeah.
I wonder why that is. Okay, I'll fuck around the other next time he answers a question. But the use case thing for the fees, this is a good point. And I'm wondering if the ETF guys will sell this to you using that talking point.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, if people are not self-custodying small transactions and they're waiting, then why not, you know?
Right. I don't know.
Keep talking. You got to carry for 1 minute.
Yeah, sure. I'll do it. Well, on-chain fees right now are like what, $10 US per transaction right now, maybe 20. That might be a little high, but I mean, if you're buying $50 worth of Bitcoin, you have to pay $10 to transfer to your self-custody account. I mean, that sucks, right? Like you're taking 20 to 30% of that amount, if not more, just on fees alone. So I don't think that's like pretty viable, right? If I buy something for $100, I don't want it to be $50, you know, in a week or so when I consolidate my UTXO. So, you know, I don't know. I just, you know, I think they might, you know, have that as a shilling point for sure. But I mean, you can just buy on an exchange as well, or like, you know, maybe people will be on board through Lightning, through state channels, and things like that. But yeah, I mean, obviously fees are getting higher, and I always recommended for the longest time 1 million sats per byte, or not 1 million sats per UTXO, because of this, because you're going to be paying, you know, greater than 10%, if not more, of your UTXO just on fees, and you don't want to do that.
Keep talking, keep going. You got to tell some jokes or something.
Tell some jokes or
We're
something.
making CBP history here. It's like trying to figure out what's wrong with the audio.
Yeah. No, I still sounds like I'm on speakerphone, but
Why would this really sound like that in your headphones?
yeah. Oh, that's a little better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we can talk to the audience a little bit, but you're getting there.
You like that maybe?
Yeah, I think that's way better.
The mics is the problem, maybe. I don't know.
I think the mics are the problem. Yeah, if you talk to the chat, I'm sure that might.
You guys tell me if this is a little better now. Tell me if it's.
Well, I mean, even in my ear,
crisper now.
even in my ear, it's still like, you know, a little bit, but it's not like you're gonna get perfect.
Okay. Good.
Anyway, the TLDR was basically like, yeah, if you're paying, if you want to buy $50 worth of Bitcoin, and you're gonna spend what, $20 on the transfer just to put in your cold storage,
It's not worth it.
Not worth it. So they'll definitely show that, but I mean, I'd just like buy it on Coinbase, I guess, or something, or like, you know, in the future, there's not like think of like the base layers like ACH payments, right? Not everyone's going to be transacting through like Fedwire on the base layer forever, right? We were very lucky to have fees so low for so long, and I don't think people realize how lucky we were.
I know.
And you know, I think we definitely took it for granted.
I did. How many people don't know anything about UTXO management? Literally, fuck all.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Like, I only learned in the last like year and a half how to properly manage UTXOs, both for privacy and for size. How many other people still are learning that lesson? You see these stories, people like, oh, I want to move Bitcoin around. Like even what's his face? I'm almost positive I saw a tweet from Brad Mills.
That's insane.
Yeah, talking about like, hey, what's going on here with the fees? Like, why can't I move any of these transactions?
I think it's talking about Lightning. Yeah, like closing a channel. I was like, why?
He doesn't know how it's so expensive.
Right.
Which is like, you know, he's maybe not an OG, but pretty close, man. Like he's been in Bitcoin for a long time. Whether he has like a competent technical understanding, I don't know. I don't think I do.
I think everyone has a lot to learn, right?
Exactly. You find out how much you have to learn during periods of like difficult transaction movement. The ETF I kind of like as a top of funnel thing. Len and I talked about this. Yeah. I think it gives people an opportunity to get some exposure to the price. And once you have exposure to the price, you at least start to learn about the asset, I think, in a lot of cases. Fine. Mm-hmm. The thing that worries me right now is there's like a clear sort of attack going on for custody, right? In the States, you got like low IQ Liz and all her banker pals or whatever writing these speeches and bills talking about, oh, I don't want people to be able to custody their own coin. Why not?
Right.
Then you
unhosted wallet.
Yeah, and like it's, you know, the words in your head, right? What does unhosted wallet mean? It's so broad a definition that you're supposed to, I guess, just never think about your seed phrase or never.
Nor is it accurate. I mean,
It's
every
not.
wallet is self-hosted, right? Coinbase self-hosts their wallet. I mean, everyone with the seed phrase hosts their own wallet.
It doesn't. Yeah.
It makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
It's
And
gobbledygook
Okay.
fiat.
okay, so the thing that worries me is that they're going to push ETF at the same time they push this self custody crackdown. I think it's going to be really tough because, like Fink says, it's an international asset. So you know, if you're going to try and lock down just American Bitcoin users into the ETF, it's really going to be to their disadvantage. And I don't think it's going to be feasible long term, but short term, before you get people adopting, I think it's fair. The other thing I think about the ETF and the custody thing, I said this morning on Tom's show, you're kind of like, as generations go by, you're seeing less and less, you know, sort of problems with that, the beginning of the inertia to buy Bitcoin. So for example, the boomers, let's say there's like 4 roadblocks, right? It's you'd rather have real estate, you know that better. You'd rather have gold, you know that better. You don't understand the tech, and you aren't suffering from any of the problems that the younger generation are. For of those problems, you're never going to get those people into Bitcoin. Then you go to the Gen Xers, guys who are 45, 50 years old. They are suffering from some of the same problems, but they're still more familiar with real estate, still more familiar with gold, and still tech illiterate, you know, when it comes to buying Bitcoin. Then you get to guys my age, you know, you're a little younger than me, but we're probably in the same demo. Are you a millennial or are you a Zoomer?
I'm like the edge.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you know the broccoli haircut. That's what I tell.
Yeah.
And so then you got guys in our demo that can't afford real estate but still know about it. Can't afford to buy like an ounce of gold but still know about it, but don't have the tech illiteracy problem. So you got 2 more roadblocks down. Then you get to the kids who are like true Zoomers and younger. They don't know anything about gold and real estate. They don't know anything about, you know, they're suffering from all the same problems, the financial ruin that's coming. They don't have the tech literacy, and they're online native. Those kids.
And they don't have any assets.
Exactly. The kids that are 10, 11, 12 years old. I know it's like, I feel like I'm one of these guys like scouting, you know, elementary school football teams in the southern United States. But these guys were 10, 11 years old. They got to get, like the government has to get this under control before those guys become buyers, because they're not going to have any hesitation. And they may also have like parents who are angsty, parents who know Bitcoin and wish they had bought some. And I look at the ETF and I'm like, people think the ETF is something the government's fighting against. I honestly now, like after thinking about this on the drive there and the drive back this morning, I think they need the ETF. I honestly believe they need it, and you're going to see those approvals coming down the pipeline like ASAP. I think everyone's talking about the first week of January or whatever.
Yeah, that's a date that people like to throw out, and there's like high probability that it's going to happen. I think you know, I don't care when it happens, but if it happens, if it happens, it's great. But yeah, no, I think I don't know if I was listening to CBP the other day, and Len was saying, or maybe you, I can't remember who it was, saying that the dollar amount for the ETF, like say if it's like $10 per share or something like that unit bias is really going to help them
for sure.
Because why would I try and aim for a whole Bitcoin when I can just buy like 5 shares?
I don't know.
Of an ETF.
Yeah, I don't know.
That gives me full exposure to Bitcoin, and I can just sell it for cash because cash is king, and everyone believes that. And they don't really know about, like, you know, the whole revolution of switching and opting out of the fiat system. They just care about making gains, right? Quote unquote gains. So they don't give a shit. But you know, they are gonna suffer eventually. I mean, maybe they won't. Maybe there'll be a generation or two that this is great for, and fiat survives a little longer. But in the end, like, there will be a liquidity event where people will rush into those things, and everyone won't be able to get paid. And I don't know what that looks like. I just know that it's gonna happen eventually, because fiat is eventually gonna fail. So these will follow suit, right? I would love to see a future where it's all happy-go-lucky, everyone gets their money and transitions to Bitcoin and everything's great. I just don't see it that way. Maybe I'm a little pessimistic, but I don't think like a cash-settled ETF is going to bode well for people.
What about if they take away the self-custody option? Keep talking. I'm going to go back to the mic controls.
If they take away the self-custody option, yeah, I keep sounding like this again. If they take away there we go. Yeah. If they take away the self-custody option, then your self-custody Bitcoin is just going to be worth a shit ton more. That's definitely better. You can hear me, I guess.
You say it's better, but these guys in the chat are like,
oh, it's shit.
They still say it's not good. I'm like, I sound perfect when I hear my own ears.
Yeah. I actually have a voice changer on in.
I'm gonna turn off the automatic adjustment for the mic volume, and we'll see if that helps.
Yeah, good call.
Okay.
In terms of like blocking self custody or like banning it, I think anyone that has coins in their custody will just have a greater asset, right? Like it's gonna be worth that fuck ton more. Like alcohol in the prohibition was just worth a shit ton because there's nowhere to get it. So if you have it, then you're gonna benefit greatly. So I guess that's all I have to say there. I mean, the people that don't have spot Bitcoin are, might benefit in the midterm, but in the long term, they definitely will get screwed. I just don't see a scenario where they don't. If someone can like be like, hey, this is what's going to happen, this is how it's going to go, and this is my prediction, and it's a happy-go-lucky rainbows, great. I'm happy to hear it. I just don't. I just have a different opinion, I guess. I don't know. Like self-custody is important, and people are like, well, what about people in the future, like you're saying? But like, okay, well, that's why we're on the show. That's why we're doing this right now. You're still able to self-custody. So get your ass in gear, get your shit together, put it in a bag, and buy some spot Bitcoin if you want. I mean, you don't have to. But if that's something you're really concerned about, then you should maybe be making the steps towards that, right? So yeah.
You know what I think the problem with the audio was?
Yeah.
I think the camera by you is picking up audio, and so I'm waiting to hear now if these guys think it's better.
Okay.
These audios the same, no change. I don't know. I gotta figure this
out. It's the same. It's better in my ear, but
it's the same. We are only hearing this, but they can hear, because we had to use OBS. They can hear whatever OBS says they can pick up. Okay. Right. So let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
If let's say like from the Bitcoin fees perspective, obviously like ordinal is a big part of this. I don't know how sustainable that is. We may disagree on that, but the one thing I think is for sure, fees are going up. And right now, Lightning from a user interface point of view is unusable for 95% of people. I would include myself in this. Like I only use like Wallet of Satoshi, Moon here and there, whatever, right? Like I don't have an implementation. There's no node in here.
You didn't try running your own node?
No. And so like I'm never going to do that. And some guys are trying to build like, node on the phone type stuff, like we talked about before. But are we like in a moment now where for Bitcoin to really succeed as the fees go up, and they will if the price goes up, are we in a moment now where we need layer 2 to pick up a ton of the slack, or is that premature?
I think this year has definitely made people more aware of what we do need to scale. So it's the urgency is definitely there, which is nice. I think a lot of people were being a little complacent and saying, oh, we have another 10, 20 years, maybe 29.1 years left until we need Lightning. And, I think we need it a lot sooner than that. And maybe there's more solutions than Lightning. Obviously they still have issues with that. They're not perfect. I think the biggest thing is, if you're going to connect a channel to someone, like if you're doing it self-hosted and running your own Lightning channels, you should open up channels to people that or that you have some form of trust with a little bit, so they can't, completely fuck you over. Because right, like they can, there's been, exploits where you open up a channel with someone and then they collude with another channel here, and then they basically take all the funds in that to multi-sig. So that sucks. But yeah, no, I think the urgency is here, and again, I think we definitely took advantage of the time we had at OneSat per byte. And I think a lot of people thought that they could just open up a Lightning channel to anyone, they could get a few routing fees, and then they'd be profitable and they'd like earn yield on their Bitcoin that way. And clearly that's not the case. Most people open up a Lightning channel, they open up maybe 10, they set their channels for 1 million sats, and then they, half of them got forced closed on them like 6 to 8 months ago because fees were so high and people were freaking out. And then it made it worse because they forced closed and then had to pay higher fees. And it was just a whole mess.
I got it. The chat's saying we got the sound down. Fuck, finally. Okay.
Nice.
God
Awesome.
bless.
Yeah. Thank God.
Now I just got to hope the fucking camera stays plugged in. There's only a battery there. Len, I had to order another dummy battery today for the camera, FYI. Okay. So pretend people didn't hear any of this stuff we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes.
Oh, perfect.
Well, okay. Give me the quick rundown then. Yeah. We'll start again for people who really I've been tuning in. The chat is pretty busy. I'm surprised to see this at this time of day, but
It's the turtleneck, right?
it's got to be. Yeah, Steve Jobs. The ETF. Good, bad, ugly. Give it to me in 30 seconds.
Ugly. It's gonna end terribly for a lot of people in the midterm. It might be great. You might earn your fiat gains and benefit and buy a nice house. Who knows? Long term, when you want to actually exchange that paper for actual Bitcoin and you want to put it into self custody, maybe they banned it by then and you're not even able to, and then you're stuck with this fiat currency that's gonna continue to inflate, and you can't get your Bitcoin. So that's gonna suck for you. If for you. Have fun staying fucking poor.
Well,
okay.
I'm kidding. You know what I was thinking today? Like, and actually Preston Pish talked about this before too. I don't have like the background to say whether this is true or false, but once you have a Bitcoin ETF, you can start to add Bitcoin to like broader portfolio management strategies, right? Like you have a bond gold ETF or like a Q's Bitcoin ETF or a bond Bitcoin ETF. Why isn't that important? Like at the end of the day, what I'm trying to put my finger on is this number go up or is it not? Like, what's the demand look like? And two, can we translate as a community people into Bitcoiners? Can we transform people into Bitcoiners using the ETF as a tool? I honestly think that we can.
Yeah.
The question is, are we going to get help? Like, this is a problem, right? The people who are selling the ETF have a vested interest in making sure you don't become a Bitcoiner. And so these guys are going to be pushing their 2% management fee, whatever. Don't worry, we'll custody the Bitcoin, or it's custody with this person. Fidelity's got it. Coinbase has got it, whatever the case is.
Right.
As a community, we got to be the ones who are on top of these guys to do self-custody, buy a cold card, whatever, right? And part of me says that we can do it, but the other part of me is like, man, these fucking banks, I don't go to banks anymore. And like I was saying to you before, like these roadblocks that we were talking about, maybe people heard that, maybe they didn't. The young people don't go to banks either, but the people who have the money that we want to see in the asset class, the boomers, the 50 plus crowd, they only go to banks. They only take advice from their financial advisor. These are the people who are keeping mutual funds from, winding up in a cemetery of past due financial vehicles that don't make any sense for them. Right. So why or how, I guess, can we make these guys into Bitcoiners, these new entrants, when we're fighting uphill? We've been fighting uphill the whole time, but it's going to be, I think, even harder once the bank gets involved.
Yeah. Well, the people that are retired are going to die someday, and then there's going to be more better people that take their place and hopefully give them better advice. But it's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, you have more liquidity coming to Bitcoin. You have all these big-ass businesses and banks that are going to buy some. So yeah, number go up. And, is that good for the pleb? Well, they're gonna have to buy Bitcoin at a higher price, and after the banks that have already bought in, maybe not already bought because they're probably gonna constantly buy, but they won't get as good of a price as maybe they could have if maybe this prolonged for another cycle, maybe, right? So it's a double-edged sword. I just think that I agree with you. I think it's a great way to bring more people in. Hopefully, the narrative won't kind of mix with the fiat world, I guess, right? Like, because they're going to show their fee, but one Bitcoin in 50 years, or 30 years will be half a Bitcoin.
Tops.
In that, I think it's 30 years at 2%. So what? So you're gonna put a Bitcoin in, maybe less.
That's the question.
And then you're gonna get half a Bitcoin in 30 years when you retire. Like, that's crazy. Like that.
It's hard to say how
all.
those old fee structures will work in a Bitcoin environment, right?
Right.
And like the other thing too that I think is, part of me says the banks, from the pristine collateral point of view, is it reasonable to think that banks are going to take Bitcoin as collateral for like a home or a business loan or whatever? Are they going to take the ETF at the same? There's no fucking way, right? Because to me, it doesn't make sense. Like I think they will show their hand in that regard. Like, you won't be able to get the same nice interest rate, the same sort of nice principal back, giving them your ETF shares or whatever, right?
They'll obfuscate it, right? Like,
of course,
if the price goes up, their fee doesn't really, you don't see it, I guess, right? So like 99% of the people that are in it, they don't know anything about it. They're like, I just know number go up, so I don't care if they take a 2% fee. But if they denominate in, of course, on your Wealthsimple page, it'll say, how many dollars, but it won't say how much Bitcoin.
That's the problem.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
It will not say that. And you'll be like, why am I?
You don't think?
No.
I have to look at whether or not it's,
I don't know.
Is it? So. Yeah. What is the difference between, there's like a cash and an in-kind ETF. I think there's been some discussion about that the last couple of days. I haven't looked that much into it. Maybe I should, because I think that's a big thing, right? Are they going to do it like other commodity ETFs where you can claim the underlying. I think GLD does that or did that. I don't know if it still does.
Okay.
The other thing I think that might be to our benefit is, regardless of how you feel about Coinbase, why shouldn't Coinbase be interested in having people come to their platform to buy spot? That's where they make their money, right?
Right.
I don't know what they're
Right.
getting paid to handle the ETF, but presumably like they're sort of on both ends of that spectrum, right? That whether you buy spot and the ETF price goes up and you have to buy more ETF, or whether you buy ETF and the price goes up and you have to buy more spot, like
they benefit from both.
They're good either way. So why, it depends on really how the fees are structured, but why wouldn't they push people into it? I think they probably will, honestly. And if they don't, then you could really put a flag in Armstrong. Like, you know exactly what kind of guy he is at that point, if you're not sure already.
Yeah. Is his dad is the guy that went to the moon, right?
He's not.
Okay. Okay. They're fucking
Why
with
does
me.
everyone
Okay.
say that?
Okay. No.
Who said that to you?
In the Corn Lords chat.
Oh
There's,
my God.
I was like,
ignore.
There's no fucking way.
These people are
There's no way.
deranged, demented. They're crazy. I told you that a million times, man.
Oh,
It's definitely not his fucking. It's not his fucking dad.
Okay, all right. I was like, "There's no way. Like,
It's not.
This is too obvious.
No, it's not his
it's
dad.
too like the timeline. The timeline would be fucked up.
It's not his dad.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Anyway,
I mean, why wouldn't they push people into buying spot? I don't know what this fee structure is yet, but I got to think about
regulation.
This. You think?
Yeah, maybe they're just like maybe they see Sen Warren.
Where's the risk? Like regulatory.
They're already getting sued, right?
Coinbase. I mean, they're getting sued by
they get sued all the time,
and like they're being sued by the same people who are using the platform to secure the ETF holdings,
right.
And by the way, the same platform that the government uses to sell their confiscated
right.
Bitcoin. Government paper hands, man, lettuce hands on those guys. They're selling everything they got.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Anyway, TLDR on the ETF. I'm sure it'll be fine for a cycle or two, maybe 3.
Yeah.
I just don't see it ending.
12 years, you think?
Well, I mean, I'm a 29.1 years till hyper Bitcoinization kind of guy. So, I could definitely.
Can you explain that name to people? Because not everyone's in that stupid fucking chat that we're in.
Yeah. Like 11 months ago, I said it's going to take 30 years to reach hyper Bitcoinization. So it's December, 15th or 17th? I don't even know what day
Today's
it is.
the 21st.
Oh, Jesus.
Or 20th, I think. It's the 20th. Do your Christmas shopping.
I run out of time. No, but yeah, it's been 11 months, so 29.1 years.
Nice.
And then in January it'd be 29 years. So the countdown is on. And by January, if Bitcoin isn't 100 or 800K, I get a free steak dinner from someone in the chat.
800K.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Pretty bullish. Yeah. So
what do you think?
Are
we going to 100K next year?
Maybe.
I think
I don't know.
I think 18 months is a pretty safe bet.
Yeah. I think we'll we're already at 44. We spiked up a little bit today.
I wish I knew, but this faulty piece of fucking hardware won't connect.
The one you got for free, right? Yeah.
I thought we weren't telling anybody that. You told me not to say anything about it. Yeah, that's the one.
No, it's we're at 44K. If we get back up to 69K, I think we sit there for a little bit, but then we just blast off. I don't know. Like, I could be wrong. We could go back to 30K. I hate predicting shit. I have no clue. And every time someone asks, I'm like, oh, just keep buying it while it's low, man. Like, why are you worried about it going up? Like, or why are you happy it goes up? Like, you can't buy them as much. So
that's a big deal. People don't realize that.
Come on, man. What are you doing? You're betting against yourself.
I have friends who ask me, back when the FTX collapse happened, we got 15, 16,000, what I was thinking and what I was doing. And I said, I'm loading the truck, man. Like, what do you mean? What else I'm not going to sell what I got. I may as well just buy more. And they're going, I'm going to wait for 12. I'm going to wait for crazy.
Classic.
It's unbelievable.
It's insane.
That phrase, picking up pennies in front of a steamroller. Like it's unbelievable how short-sighted people are. Anyway, okay. That's the TLDR on the ETF. The TLDR on the fees and layer 2. High fees, good for Bitcoin, bad for Bitcoin. And what does it mean for layer 2? And does layer 2 even matter? Like, people are talking now about like liquid and all this other shit that's like, fake layer 2.
I don't think it's a solution that will
Fugazi. It's Fugazi. Yeah.
Is higher fees good for Bitcoin? That's a what do you call it? A controversial take.
It's a huge problem.
It shouldn't be, though. Like, if you believe in Bitcoin and you believe that, it's going to hyperinflate, or, fiat's going to hyperinflate and we're going to transition to Bitcoin, then you better bet your ass that fees are going to go up, right? Like, people are going to use Bitcoin the way they want. Whether you think it's a valid transaction or not is up to you and your opinion. But I haven't seen any solutions, nor I don't think there is a solution unless we just like soft fork in and everyone just updates their nodes and mempool policy to like stop doing this. But like I'm not
People
gonna
don't even know how to do that, honestly.
yeah. So it's a hard topic to say if fees are good for Bitcoin or not. I think fees are great for Bitcoin. But I'm not gonna just like leave it at that, obviously I would greatly love fees to be lower for another 5 years so that everyone in Africa can get their transactions in beforehand. But I mean that's just not how Bitcoin works, right? It's literally like the one free market that's live 24/7 all the time.
No protection,
And
right?
no protection. People bid up block spaces permissionless. So if you don't like that, then you don't like Bitcoin. I'm not gonna say. Well,
I get what
that,
you're
but you know what I
saying,
mean?
though.
Like,
Yeah, of course. And
it's
actually,
tough.
it's funny. I got a DM. I got a DM from David Bailey the other day, thanking me for some of the kind stuff I've said about Bitcoin Magazine. I would assume through the ordinals thing. I don't agree. I don't agree with the things that they're doing on the ordinal side, but I do agree. And Len and I disagree about this all the time.
Yeah.
I do agree that the block space is a pay to play.
Right.
It's a pay to play environment, right?
PvP, man.
Exactly. And like if you can't afford the block space, you don't get it. Now the bright side is that you can only pay for the block space in Bitcoin, and there's only so much Bitcoin. And if you want more, naturally, as the fees go up, the price goes up, and this is sort of the natural rebalancing of the fee environment is predictable, right? We saw in the summertime and in the spring, and you came on a few times and we talked about it. The fee spikes and the miners love it, and it's good for the network. It's popular. I don't agree with like Udi and these guys. I think they're dopes, broadly speaking.
Yeah, there's rash opinions on both sides.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Get your bloody JPEGs off my blockchain, and like, oh, we're breaking Bitcoin. Like those things are.
You're not raising the fees doesn't break Bitcoin.
Right.
It's
a troll.
I think it might, like you said, is it good or bad? It shouldn't be that controversial. High fees are coming regardless of if it's JPEG's adoption or price. It's coming, right? And don't forget, like when we talk about high fees, we're really measuring still fees in dollars. So, in nominal terms, you may see those numbers go up, but what are they going up in Bitcoin terms, real terms, things of that nature? We'll see in the future.
Right. Like if Bitcoin doubles tomorrow and we're at 100 sats per byte, you're paying the same amount for 50 sats per byte.
Yep.
In fiat terms.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The one thing I touch on witness data is, Taproot was, Taproot and SegWit was basically enabling like bigger scripts in the witness.
Yeah.
And the one thing I tell people is like, you can't restrict, arbitrary data from making it to chain, but allow larger scripts to fit in the same blob, right? Like if you want Lightning and L2s to perform better and have these cool new advanced features, those things are going to take up more data in the witness. And so are other things, right? Like 4 megabyte block or whatever. Like people are going to pay for that. The genie is out of the box in that scenario. And it's literally impossible.
Genie's not often in boxes, right? Usually bottles.
Sorry, bottles, of course. Yeah. Lamps, maybe. You got to rub it a little bit.
Yeah.
But right, like the genie's out of the bottle. People agreed, and they even had their little green thing on their Twitter that says like, I approve of Taproot. And
so funny.
You remember that? And like that's coming back to bite people so bad. They're like, oh no, we didn't know. But a lot of people, I'm gonna say a lot of people that were creating Taproot and developing it knew. I just don't think they told a lot of people, or like the broad public knew.
They knew
to
what?
the extent
they knew what
they knew that you could fit 4 megabyte.
Oh boy,
shit into the witness. Like
Len, you got to clip this. Put this guy's face on this short.
I believe that some devs knew that you could stuff as much arbitrary data into the witness as big of a block.
If you get the discount,
if you pay.
Yeah, like I mean, it's discounted data. Why would you not?
Well, I mean, it was probably cost some people like 15 to 20 grand to do it. Now it would probably cost them millions of dollars to do it. So like, people become more efficient. Maybe they're not doing JPEGs anymore. They're doing like these BRC shit.
I still don't have a good handle on the BRC20 thing.
It's just ERC20 shitcoining on Bitcoin. That's basically it. That's TLDR.
What's ERC stand for?
Great question.
I have no idea.
The BRC20 thing was just replicated from ERC20.
Yeah, but
so whatever ERC20 means,
Yeah,
it's just
Bitcoin RC.
yeah, but it doesn't operate the same at all. Like we don't have smart
No,
contracts
I
like
know,
they
I
do.
know.
So like we copied the name, but we did not copy the
Sad state of affairs
technology.
for the
Yeah.
Bitcoin crowd copying the ETH.
I know.
It's not good.
But you know, it's really funny. The inscriptions in general and ordinals has actually been copied to other chains now. So like there's like ETH-scriptions now, and there's
Really?
like what's Justin's son, like the Tron guys. They have Tron-scriptions or whatever the fuck.
I've not heard this.
It's
in
hilarious.
My, in my
you know?
ventures through
Yeah.
the bankless desert of soy and virginity, I've not
Yeah.
heard any of the comment on this. Like they've
Right.
shared or copied
Right.
the stuff from other chains.
Yeah. So like Casey's whole ordinal theme has copied to other chains, which is really cool because a lot of things, you know, we think of shitcoins as like test nets for Bitcoin, and if something's really good on a
Who
you know,
who thinks of them as test nets for Bitcoin? There's a lot of shitcoins that people do not view as test nets for
sure,
Bitcoin.
Litecoin had SegWit first, and we copied SegWit.
Litecoin is the
yeah.
only one I would give you.
Okay, that's my example. I'd
Okay.
had to look into more.
Okay.
But yeah, like if something's good on another chain and thinks it's valuable for Bitcoin, then we'll copy it. Like I guess the Litecoin one's my only example I can think of at the top of my head. I don't think there's a lot.
No,
there's a lot of
probably
shit.
isn't.
But it's just funny to see that you know, something that was created on Bitcoin is now expanding into the shitcoin realm because they can make money off it. So they're gonna do it, right?
How much money do you think Rodimer made on this whole exercise? This is a question I'll never get an answer to, but I want to know. And the reason I want to know is because I keep on hearing he's like a dev and he's a good Bitcoiner
Rust
and blah,
dev,
blah,
yeah.
blah. Yeah. Like, is he? And I'm not necessarily saying making money is a good thing or a bad thing, but it tells me a little bit about who the guy is. You know, if you knew this would happen and you sort of pre-mined certain sats knowing that this was coming or whatever, like I want to know that so that I can discount anything that comes from him or his camp in the future. I suspect the answer is yes, and that he made a bunch of money, but I don't know. Is that important to you? Should it be important?
Well, you know, bring it back a little bit. My first Bitcoin conference was BitBlock Boom in Texas.
Okay.
And I met this guy at like 2 a.m. on the patio. He didn't even buy a ticket. And he's just like, hey man, what's up? Like, my name's Casey. And I was like, who's this guy?
Wow,
Oh, nice
okay.
to meet you. And he's like, have you heard of my protocol that I'm building on Bitcoin? It's like NFTs for Bitcoin. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, dude, I don't know, man. I'm not really, you know, into that. You know, obviously I was a shitcoiner in the past. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people were.
Everybody had
And I was kind of in the phase where I'm like, man, I'm just like Bitcoin. Like I don't want to do that anymore. And, you know, he added me to his Discord and, you know, he posted something on Twitter back in February saying it's live. And I was like, I looked into it and, you know, I think he's a really cool dude. And I don't think he made a lot of money out of this. I think there are people that will extract as much value as possible.
Yeah.
I think he's just a really passionate dude that wanted to create something. And I'm going to be, I don't think he thought that this was going to be as big as it was. Like, you know, I think that's he was on Twitter Spaces with him and Raf, just, you know, open Twitter space. Anyone can join. They're just coding for solid couple months before it was released. Maybe 2 people in that Twitter space.
Wow.
Once it released, it blew up. Like
you and who else? Who else was in there?
I may have hopped in once or twice, but you know, I like hop in, listen. I'm like, this is way over my head, and I left. Right?
I remember when this started, I was at Costco and I hopped on a space that I saw you were on and was like arguing with people on the way home from Costco, which I never do. I've since like softened my stance on all this, but I still do want to know how much money they made. In the past, I've heard him say he didn't make as much money as he could have, which is not really a defense. It's more of an admission, if you ask me.
Sure.
But regardless, that's fine. Okay,
yeah.
let's not talk about ordinals. I don't care.
All I would say about Casey is that all I would say about Casey, he's a great guy.
Okay.
And I don't think he's in it for the liquidity extraction. I think he's really passionate about it, and it's like a pet project of his.
He's been deving for a long time, right? He's not. He didn't just show up.
He was at spaces. He was at conferences all the time before ordinals. And I just
talking to random people on the patio about his project that he was working on. Though.
Exactly. Yeah. His goal, I don't think, was to make a shit ton of money. I really think he came from a place of like, you know, if we're gonna do this is how we're gonna do it. I found how to do it, so let's just create it. And you know, there's a lot of people that I know from ETH and other shitcoin chains that took over, did a bunch of Twitter spaces and shilled their shit and made a bunch of money. Right? That's how it works.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Ethereum's had that problem for a long time. Yeah. I was saying to a bunch of people in the past. I've said to a bunch of people in the past that the Ethereum guys, the thing that I don't understand, if you're buying Ethereum thinking it's going to last, are you not concerned that the only guys who stuck around are the guys who have all their chips in that basket, and everyone else basically left to start other projects and have become like serial project starters over the last 5 or 6 years, right?
Right.
It's token after token after token, community, Discord, airdrop, blah, blah, blah. You've basically kept the bankless guys employed. They're selling a service now on that podcast.
Yeah, the cent, 1 cent or whatever.
What is it? I don't know.
Like $1.
It alerts you to airdrops.
Oh,
that one?
I thought you were talking about Len's.
And worthless NFTs or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. That was fun.
That's a great service too.
I like that.
I wish I'd thought of
hilarious.
that. Helping people get out of their tax issues.
Len, go. You should check him out.
CBP sponsored, sanctioned. Okay, what else do you want to talk about? What's important in the next year in Bitcoin? I think we got lots of time here. It's been 40 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going anywhere.
Good. Okay, because I got more beer in the fridge and I got nothing to do. I took the day off work.
The last thing I'd say, before we close this out, obviously, is I think a lot of people have softened their opinion on things that have happened on chain and, and inscriptions and the whole protocol. And people are they want to make money, and I get it. Even I inscribed some shit. My face on a Bitcoin, probably a dumb idea, but I did it, and it was fun. I tried it out. I still follow the space. But I think there's a difference between people that like actively go out of their way, will shill all of their shit while dumping on their followers. And, you can call me a shit coiner all you want, but at least I'm like not actively going out and saying, hey, you should buy this while I'm actively dumping on you.
How can
you know what I mean?
How is it? I mean, you've basically made sure that you can't do that by inscribing your face on one of the
right. It's never for sale.
No one's. I mean, if people buy it, then society has truly fallen.
I told the warlords if they want to buy it for 50 Bitcoin, that's my sellout price.
Nice.
I think anyone would sell it for 50 Bitcoin, but some people are honest, some people aren't. So
interesting. That's an interesting, thought experiment. Everyone's got a number.
Everyone's got a number, and no one else except for me said their number. What would your number be, Joey? What would you sell?
Well, I'll tell you. We talked about this on the show on Monday about how when we had Ben Justman on 2 weeks ago, he mentioned that during the bull run coming up, he's going to sell some Bitcoin to pay a loan that he has with his father that he started the winery with and all that. And I thought it was pretty cool. And I said to Len on the show, I'm like, everyone has a number where they will betray everything they have said online, everything they have told their friends,
right?
All the podcasts they have done or not done, and I don't betray is too strong a word. Like if you have like a debt or you want to get out of your mortgage or you want to, I don't know, if you need a car or whatever, like there's a number where you would be like, okay, I'm going to sell one of my Bitcoin and buy this or get out of this or whatever. At the end of the day, like you have to be able to sleep at night.
Shitcoiner.
It's going to be, I know. Save the tomatoes. This room's too small to have a place to throw tomatoes at me. But I just think like everyone's got that number somewhere. There's some threshold for everybody.
Yeah.
Why not just admit it? You're fighting. Like you're telling people you don't have a number. They're telling you they don't have a number. You're lying. They know you're lying. They know they're lying. Like what
that I know.
You know what I mean? Like
lying.
what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
It's not a mystery, and it's not bad. You have expenses. You have things that help keep you sane. Like I was saying to my wife, if Bitcoin hits like $1 million a coin, like there's a house around the corner that I'm like, I'm going to knock on that guy's door. We're buying the fucking house.
Right.
Like that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Whatever that guy's number is, we're going to have it at $1 million. It doesn't matter what the number is. We're going to have it.
Right.
Let's go buy the house. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
She's like, yeah, of course she hasn't done any work on Bitcoin and is, coasting on my holdings, but still the point is that everyone has that number. And I know you and your girlfriend have like, you guys have talked about this. You've been over a bunch of times.
I'm doxxed. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Like, you've been over a bunch of times. We've talked about this a million times. Why not just admit it?
Right. Well, and again, like circling back, like there's a difference between selling Bitcoin and selling like a shit coin for Bitcoin, right? Obviously there's a huge difference there. But I think I don't like to name names, but there's a lot of people in the space that are a little hypocritical, right? Like they got in really early. They got in around the ICO boom. They made a big bag off some shitcoin token.
Yeah.
And now they're all right just saying shitcoins are are terrible.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, you should learn from your mistakes. And yes, I would never shill anything. I would never tell you to buy anything except for Bitcoin. I literally love education. I'm gonna talk to everybody. I'm gonna talk to Bitcoiners about Bitcoin. I'm gonna talk to shitcoiners about Bitcoin. I'm gonna tell them how to self-custody whatever the fuck they want, as long as it's within Bitcoin. And I don't see an issue with that. But everyone's gonna have a little bit of a different moral ethics standpoint on things. So I think it's tough, right? And as long as you're honest and you're not shilling anything and you're not actively going out of your way to dump on the people you're shilling to, I think there's a little bit of a gray area there where you're okay. But it depends on the person.
Do you hold it against the people who dabble in shit coins? And this is maybe a topic for like what comes in 24. Bull markets always yield this kind of behavior, right?
Yeah.
Do you hold it against the Bitcoiner who goes into the altcoin markets,
Like to get more Bitcoin kind of thing?
Yeah, tries to add to their stack that way. I mean, everyone knows that, long-term fiat and every alt, including the king, of alts right now, Ethereum, basically trending to zero over a crazy chart, that EBTC chart.
Yeah.
And every chart's going to look the same. But during a bull run, there's no doubt that there are moments, weeks, months, days, hours, whatever. It's not just outpace.
Yeah.
It's like crush Bitcoin performance in fiat terms to allow you to add to your stack. I've never done that. Mostly because I don't know that I could do it, number one. And two, I really do feel like because of the platform we have, if I was to do that, it wouldn't be fair to the people who watch and listen. And I don't want to dabble in those markets anyway. I prefer to starve the beast a little bit. I think you're the same way. Now, the question is it, the worst thing in the world for a Bitcoiner to do that, especially like a newer Bitcoiner who, like you mentioned, right? Like same way that the Africans can't get their transactions in or whatever.
Right.
If you're coming into Bitcoin and the price is 65,000, is it fair to say to those people, no, you cannot shitcoin, you must stay humble and stack sats? Or should we let those guys, knowing that the end, goal is to add to the Bitcoin stack, should we allow that behavior and just, support them and root them on?
Right.
I don't know. It's hard.
Over time, my opinion has changed. You get into hardcore Bitcoin and you think you're more righteous than someone else, and you think that you're maybe not better than them, but you think that you're doing better by not shitcoining or leveraging or whatever you're doing to get more Bitcoin. And I think at the end of the day, people want a little bit more money. They want to make money. I believe in free capitalism. I like the free market will reign. I don't like when people shill shit and dump on their followers, like I was saying. But whether you're a newbie or a seasoned vet that's trying to get more Bitcoin, and you're not like I said, you're not dumping on people and like shill. I guess you're dumping on someone, right? Whatever it is. But if your goal is to make more Bitcoin, you're taking on that risk, and I think that's your choice, right? I don't know. I've gotten a little more soft over time.
Choice maximalism is, I think, a fair position.
Yeah.
I would hold it against somebody.
Maybe they spoke this way and then did this.
Maybe or like sometimes I also would say like there's a lot of people who, go against what they say. But the bigger one for me, like you mentioned, is the guys who have like big followings and say,
buy this fucking shitcoin.
Consider, even if they were to say, consider going into this shitcoin that I'm going into. I'm looking for this target and I'm going to go back and add to my Bitcoin stack. Like that to me is worse, because you're tempting people with fate. And this is like, it's
you've already bought your bag.
Yeah.
You told your followers, they pump your bag.
You get 5%, and then you know what I mean? Like you give it all back. If you're one of the guys who bought late, you're giving all those gains back. I have a big problem with that. The one thing I would say is that Bitcoiners, I think, there's like a gap between the logic, the intention, and the practice. And it's that Bitcoiners are all about free market, do whatever you want, whatever's best for you.
It doesn't give a fuck.
And then
permissionless.
And then we crucify people who do this stuff, right? Yeah, like pretty mercilessly.
I've been crucified more than once
for fucking ordinals.
Yeah,
like that's
back in February, March, my life was hell. I got so many DMs.
Stop.
So like so bad.
You never told me that.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, it sucked. People call you shitcoiner. Maybe I am. And like I guess I just had.
I did see you one time after an afternoon at a brewery. Open, I think, like trading card or like pre-order
the Bitcoin trading card
packs or something.
Yeah.
I've since seen those a number of times on Twitter.
Yeah.
They're very popular.
Yeah, and Bitcoiners will shill that all they want.
You might have been ahead of the curve there.
Right? Like, for example, like you buy a box of those cards, right?
Yeah.
$500 US. You sell a card for $1,500, $3,000.
Sure.
right? I mean, what's the difference between that and what people are doing online, right? Like the only difference is physical, sure. But I mean, you're still pumping something that you have and convincing someone else to buy it for more than you got it for.
Someone who doesn't
right?
have it.
Someone that doesn't have it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, we can talk about the physical and digital differences all you want. But I mean, at the end of the day, when you break it down, you're buying something for a lot less and you're selling it for much more to someone else. And whether they lose or make money is kind of irrelevant to you because you already sold it, right? You know what I mean?
People asking for a deep dive into the DMs in the chat here.
The deep dives. Ugh.
I've never received like brutal. I've received a couple of brutal ones. Like someone told me I unfairly framed a comment from Christine Lagarde once.
Okay, interesting.
About, you know, we need to make sure that we close the gates. And I don't think I unfairly framed it. I don't remember exactly what the comment was, but we get like Len and I get DMs for people who are like, you know, you should talk about this, or when you guys said this, did you mean blah blah blah? Right. Pretty quality stuff. I've also never crossed, you know, the pack the way that you did.
I definitely have.
Yeah.
Even in the Warlord chat.
What was the best? I mean, the Warlord chat is whatever. We still go for dinner. What was the worst one you got?
I don't know. It was just like, you know, people that I knew on Twitter for quite a while, in my Twitter 2 years or 3 years on Twitter. And I'm just like, you know, I was hosting me and my buddy Brian. You know, I don't know him in person, but we were talking about inscriptions and like
Brian Trolls or whatever.
Not Brian Trolls. No, not from Bitcoin Magazine.
Okay.
It's like me, Brian.
I think I have that guy too.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
And we just talk technicals. We talk about, you know, what's going on chain. You know, we had a mix of shitcoiners and Bitcoiners all in the same room asking questions about why fee rate is at 30 sats per byte or 20 sats per byte.
What could it be?
And what the heck this big massive blob is on mempool and why there's only one transaction in this block. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, you know, I'm breaking it down. I'm showing you what's going on. What is witness data? What's a fee rate in the first place? Like just talking technicals, not shilling anything, just talking Bitcoin. And you know, the or disrespecter people just getting up all up in my ass.
Disrespecter crowd.
Like, you know, and you can try all you want. I'm not saying don't try. I mean, obviously, if you don't like something, you should try to fix it if you think it's a bug or whatever. You know, I think obviously the term bug or exploit, people will always have a different opinion on that. Yeah, it was just a crazy time where Bitcoin culture was changing, I think. And I think there's still two camps right now. There's like the ordinal camp and there's the Bitcoin maxi cult camp.
For sure.
And
you're calling it a cult, the Bitcoin maxi cult.
There's two cults, the ordinal cult and the Bitcoin maxi cult.
Okay.
Yeah. let me clarify there. And I just think at the end of the day, I love to teach about Bitcoin, you know, whether I participate, you know, that's, you know, you can judge me for that if you'd like. But I do not actively shill anything. I will never tell you to buy anything except for Bitcoin. I will tell you how to self-custody your Bitcoin or your ordinal or whatever, right? Like it's just sats at the end of the day. And I just think, you know, emotions and tension was hot during February, March, crazy. And even like yourself, right? Like we did a podcast and you're like, this is the last time we're talking about ordinals, and like, look at us now, we're still talking about
I didn't
you know
want
what
to
I
talk.
mean?
Well, because it wasn't because I was so opposed to it. It was more because I just like how much more time do I need to dedicate to this topic? I think it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
It's pay to play. We need it to be pay to play for it to be successful.
Yeah.
You don't like what people are putting on there. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, right.
That's all there is to it.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's all there is to it. And, you know, like I said, we were just having some spaces, and anyways, getting shit on for hosting spaces about.
Oh, for sure you were.
For
sure.
You know, and I guess maybe that drew more attention to it and I could see their stance. But everyone's going to have a different level of moral ethics, whatever. And everyone at the end of the day, when Bitcoin when fiat hyperinflates and everyone's on a Bitcoin standard, you know, like you say, like Bitcoin is for your friends and for your enemies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a permissionless network and people are going to do with it what they please. And you may not like it, but that's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's tough to like, you know, feed that information to people in a very neutral way. It's very tough, you know, because you think, oh, well, you're advocating for this, or oh, you're not saying it's spam. Why not? You know, it's like, man, like you can't win,
Well,
right?
isn't the other problem that there's like a technical, not a requirement, but you should have like a baseline of kind of technical know-how before you start talking about what this thing is doing, not doing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, I would include myself in this, by the way, don't have that technical background to say like this is unacceptable behavior on the network. This is not acceptable for the future of the fee structure. This is, you know, too easy for miners to co-opt. And I just don't know.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people are outsourcing to some of the most vocal and, you know, high conviction people in the space, for better or worse. I think a lot about MVK. I think a lot about Pierre Rochard. I think a lot about, you know, some of these guys who've been around a long time who have really strong views about Bitcoin, not only because they're technically competent, but also because it is their baby now.
Right.
And you know, I'm like that for some parts of the whole, you know, discussion and environment, but broadly speaking, I think a lot of us are like, well, what does this guy think? You know, like I said on our show a little while ago, Pierre Rochard thinks the block size is going to expand.
Right.
He's like, you know, it's only a matter of time. The block size is going to go up because the hardware is going to be more available, blah, blah, blah. And the best argument against it is that the ossification of the network is good because it shows that we're not going to budge on other stuff.
You can't ossify until you fix the 2140 bug.
Whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that everyone knows that's coming.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, there's a lot of guys who have these strong takes who you would otherwise, you know, revere, basically, Pierre especially. And now he's out there saying, you know, I expect the block size to grow. Okay, well, are we going to crucify him? Hard hat Pierre?
Right.
Let's investigate Pierre.
Yeah.
No emissions here, Pierre.
Kill your heroes.
We can't. Like, who are we going to replace him with, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention that Noted is like one of the best OG Bitcoin podcasts of all time. Have you heard that show?
Which one?
Oh, the Noted.
No.
With Pierre and Bitstein. They only release like one episode a year.
Okay.
But it's always top notch.
They're
so good.
Yeah.
And like those guys are they're part of a lot of people's formative journey. And so if you're a 2017, 18, 19 Bitcoiner, or a little later even, these guys really helped form a lot of your opinions about the network, about what's important, about what we can't do, what we must do, who to look out for, who to avoid. And when those guys have opinions now, people are like, okay, this is where I'm planting my flag. I'm going to march under this guy's banner.
Right. Yeah. So yeah.
Like, another beer there? Are you empty?
Almost.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, in a second.
Sure.
I was just gonna say like going back to like that witness script size, right? I mean, like we want to advance Bitcoin and we want it to be better. We want it to do more cool things. But you know, there's trade-offs with everything. And one trade-off was that you can fit arbitrary data into a blob and pay, you know, $1 million and throw it into a block.
Right.
And, you know, it's still fresh. The wounds are still healing. But long-term, when Bitcoin's $1 million, $2 million in, you know, infinity, because fiat doesn't exist, people might still be trading those things. I just don't think they'll be creating them because it's cost too much, right? Like right now, the fees are at 200 sats per byte. Nobody's inscribing JPEGs.
No,
nobody. All that's happening right now is they're trading shitcoins. That's what's happening right now. And once those shitcoins pump, people make their bag and then they dump. Then they'll stop trading those shitcoins and then they'll move on to something else. And you know, it's hard to have that like low time preference where you kind of like have to like let it settle out a bit. But you know, it takes time, and I'm not saying that they're going to run out of money anytime soon. I just think that their attention span is very short. And they're here to make a bag, and then they're gonna go fuck off and do something else on a different chain. Like,
that's the expectation,
right?
Yeah.
So you know, I'll have this conversation all day with anyone, and you know, you can judge me all you want, but I'm just here to educate people about Bitcoin. And a lot of shitcoiners knew nothing about fee rates. They knew nothing about mempool.space. They didn't even know how to look up a transaction ID. They knew none of this stuff, and I was helping them with Sparrow, and I thought it was really cool. And
this was the other side of the argument.
Like, it was really cool. I just thought it was interesting to see people that were never in Bitcoin, that were shitcoiners, using Sparrow for the first time. And I was like, I know how to use Sparrow. So this is how you use Sparrow. And I was teaching like all these shitcoiners, but I was getting shit on for it, obviously.
They've never used it before.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but these people are like, they just want to learn. I'm like, I will teach you. You know, what you do with your power afterwards is I don't accept any of the responsibility.
Sure.
You do what the fuck you want. But if you want to learn how to do Sparrow and you're in my DMs asking me because you think I'm some guru, I'm going to show you. Like, I don't know. Like,
I would say that there's some merit to, you know, bringing people in and talking to them about stuff like Sparrow, other hardware wallets,
like self-custodying your sats.
Yeah.
Whether they're special sats or not, self-custodying those instead of putting them on a web browser hot wallet.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Like they have they have like 100K.
Keep talking. I'm
They
gonna
have-
get you another
yeah,
beer, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
we're gonna talk about custody
Sure,
and a couple
good
other
call.
things.
They have like 100K on a fucking web browser wallet extension.
Look at the
And
chat.
yeah, true. And they don't know anything about self custody. And you know, do they deserve self custody? Maybe not. Maybe they don't deserve it. But I'm going to teach them that anyway, and teach them how to not use a fucking hot wallet and get their wallet drained. Like, there's so many examples of MetaMask and Phantom Wallet and all these shitcoin wallets getting completely drained through email scams and other like malicious websites where they go to and they click a link, they sign something, and then they sign all their funds away. So if you can, you know, at least teach shitcoiners about Bitcoin and how to self custody, not through, you know, like a shitty closed source like ledger, and use a hardware wallet like Cold Card, or put it on a Sats card, or use a tap signer. I think that's amazing, and I think that's really cool. So it's tough, right? Because you know, you want to teach everyone. I'm really passionate about self custody, and I'll teach anyone about self custody. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah. So anyway, get your funds off stupid web browser degen wallets and put it on a Cold Card. I mean, why not? You're much safer, and you can store your assets, or you can store your Bitcoin, and everyone wins, right? So I think that's the best part here. So anyway, enough about ordinal degen shit. I'm a self custody advocate, and I'm a Bitcoin only self custody advocate. Hope you guys are enjoying the show, by the way. Joey's getting me another beer right now. We're going to talk about self custody in a second, but hopefully my Deeves Jobs outfit is sufficient for everyone here. Let's see. Let's check out the comments. Anyone got any questions, by the way? I can answer some questions while Joey's away.
Let's see. My dog's
Oh, Praveen's in the chat. Shout out Praveen.
My dog's going absolutely wave.
Oh yeah, he's going bonkers, eh?
Wave up here.
DSASMR.
What? What are they saying?
I have some ASMR going. They can hear my lips chapping.
Let me turn the mic.
Now that I figured out the light, you go turn the fucking.
Yeah, please don't clip this.
This is CBP.
Praveen's gonna call me after this show. Praveen's gonna fucking ream me out because I basically like, you know, we'll hang out, and then he'll be like, so like, you know, you done shitcoining yet? And I'm like, yeah, you know, you've turned me. I'm back to being my Bitcoin angel that doesn't do anything at all. And then here I am talking about shitcoins on a space again. I know.
There's people
This is
asking
probably
for CoinKite discount codes, eh?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I'll be on Cafe Bitcoin tomorrow, but you can use Cafe Bitcoin, CAFEB, Cafe B, for 10% or 5 or 10% off any color Cold Card. So
Wow,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, there you go.
I should have got you to bring one, because CBP is obviously exercising the.
Sure.
Yeah,
I should have brought one for Len, because Len wants one for his.
I think he got one from the Bull guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
got one
good.
there for
Okay.
that. That video is almost ready to go. That'll be on the
Nice.
channel pretty soon.
Nice.
Yeah, let's talk about Cold Card. I mean,
Yeah.
you're here, obviously. May as well bring that up.
Yeah.
What's going on with the Q1? What's going on with the MK4? New software update. Maybe we could start there. This is like a little bit far afoot for CBP, but I love seeing the Cold Card update thing on Twitter. So
Yeah.
what's the last update?
Yeah. Well, for anyone that doesn't know, I'm a customer support specialist at CoinKite. Basically, I answer self custody
You think
questions
people
all day.
watching this don't know that?
Well, I don't know. Who knows?
Holy fuck.
Who knows? Last update, there was a bug with cloning your Cold Card. So we updated that so you don't get a yikes error when that happens. I'll have to look up the actual release notes, but I know that one's the main one that we fixed with 5.2.1.
Right.
We have Edge firmware out, which is I think 6.0 point, whatever for Taproot. But it's Edge firmware, so it's not like an official release yet.
That's basically dev.
We say like, use with caution. I think that should be, I don't know the timeline on it, but obviously they're working every day on that.
Sure.
To release it. I know a lot of people want that for different reasons, but anyway, I use SegWit. SegWit's great. Just keep using SegWit. But yeah, no, if you want to use some more fancy Taproot shit, that'll be coming out, and I think it's gonna be really good.
What about
So.
the Q1? What's the latest on that? I love
Yeah.
that device. Me and Lem were talking about maybe getting one for CBP if we don't use a Mark IV. Fuck, you know, I didn't care much for it the first time I saw it, but now that I've watched a couple of those live videos, the thing looks great in motion. Looks really good in motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think even just the full QWERTY keyboard is gonna be so nice to like put in passphrases or re-enter, recover your seed words or things like that.
Mhm.
I just think it's a little bit of an upgrade there. You know, you have potentially 3 secure elements rather than 2.
Nice.
Right? Like the big thing with the big thing with security is it's a moving target, and people love to shit on our older devices. Like, you know, the MK1 got pwned at some point.
It's been out for 5 years, right?
Right.
So,
you know, and security and hackers are much better equipped now. So then we upgrade to an MK2 or MK3. It's like, oh, okay, now there's a secure element with if you use a $1 million laser fault injection.
I love that.
A laser fault injection thing in a secure warehouse with 1,000 cold cards because the first 99 broke or 999 broke. You can crack one of the secure elements of the 2, and you need to crack the MCU. It's like, guys, like,
This is realistic.
It's impossible to have something for 100 years and still be secure.
I've heard MVK talk about this too. Like, at the end of the day, the cold card is an interface more than it's a security product, and
it's a little bit of both.
You know what I mean? Like, really, your seed phrase, your passphrase. It continues to be the most important thing in custody setups.
Right.
Of course. People get mad, I think, especially guys in the Trezor and Ledger camp these days, because that guy, he's just shitting himself.
Ledger.
It's unbelievable.
Pascal. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask you, actually, now that I have you, MVK and him have done a few panels, conferences, etc. together, and podcasts. When is he going to be on? He should be on Bitcoin Review talking about this stuff, because I think he owes an apology to his users that McCormick should be fucking giving or allowing him a platform to give, and he's not doing it for whatever reason. I can't understand, in a world where, like, now, like you mentioned, the sort of sophistication of the attackers has gone way up. You're talking about man-in-the-middle attacks. Ledger Live as an app is like a shitty kind of web browser, skin that allows
keeps pinging back to the server that gives you all your information.
What the fuck is going on over there? Yeah. How many people? Because you guys didn't really rise to prominence, until like 2 or 3 years ago, let's say. How many people bought Ledgers, Nano S, Nano X? Remember
it's in Best Buy, dude.
Whatever happened to that Stacks product? Remember how much they were pimping that thing?
Ledger Stacks, the screen.
It's like an iPhone,
like a book
thing.
almost.
It disappeared.
It's gone.
Where is it?
Yeah, no idea.
They're not even going to release that thing.
Yeah.
Who's still holding their coin, keys, whatever? Like,
yeah,
it's nuts.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I hate bashing on other hardware wallet companies, but
feel free, though.
Because obviously I'm part of one, and like I just want everyone to self custody. So I don't really. It's not that I don't care what you use. It's like I just hope you use at least something that's secure,
right?
And there's different security obviously for each device. But yeah, it is unfortunate that they don't like the whole thing earlier was with on Ledger was that they had an old old employee, and then they didn't revoke his GitHub, and then I guess him or someone else got his GitHub.
That is unbelievable.
And pushed a malicious firmware update.
Are
you kidding me?
It's insane.
Really?
And even the ShakePay thing, like we talked about this Monday night too. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, because you work for a company that presumably has thought about this. The way they found out there was a breach was through suspect activity on a staffer's mobile device.
Oh, this Ledger or ShakePay? ShakePay. What? Sorry, could you repeat what happened?
There was like a suspect bit of activity on a staffer's.
Oh, like address or like docs information.
Who fucking knows?
Right.
Like,
that's crazy.
How can this be?
Yeah.
You guys are talking about being the biggest exchange in the country. You are, they reallocated or changed resource allocations internally to go from whatever they had going on. I know like a few of them went from doing like partnerships, for example, to doing like government lobbying. All the while you got guys working for you who are walking around on their phones with shit that's like sensitive or leads to sensitive data. What?
So fun fact, CoinKite deletes all your sensitive personal information,
of course,
after 120 days.
Yeah.
And if you want, we can even delete it earlier. So
you just ask.
Yeah, you just ask.
That's it.
You just ask, so we can wipe all your shipping information, or even just wipe your entire account to example@example.com.
Yeah.
It's
There's nothing to it, eh? Like it's amazing that companies don't offer this service, and the reason they don't is because they care more about the fiat gains than they do about the mission.
Yeah, and I think a lot of them too, like there's plenty of Bitcoin companies that have had their data leaked. I'm not going to name names.
No, there's a bunch
but they use like MailChimp.
Yeah.
So they throw their email support to
other
services
are hacked. Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of what the problem is. They'll hack a MailChimp server, and then they'll be like, oh, look at this, and then they'll just release it all. So having that all in house is important.
Yeah.
But everyone's gonna do what they're gonna fucking do. But yeah, like I don't know how many, like 2 strikes you're out, right? Or 3 strikes you're out at least. Like come on, like
it's
how
not
many?
three strikes.
Yeah,
it's not
how
3
many
strikes you're out. If
one strike you're
if
fucked,
all your money's
right?
lost
Yeah.
on strike 1, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and my big problem with Pascal, and I saw this on the Ledger Reddit, I tweeted this out too a couple of days ago. My big problem with Pascal is that he's not getting out in front of any of this. He's basically saying like, look, we're working to make this right or whatever. Like, bro, you have so much egg on your face now that you've ruined your reputation here going forward in a way that honestly not many other Bitcoin related people have, I think. Right. And for him, again, I credit to MVK. The stuff I've seen where they share a stage or are taking questions together, MVK is always so polite and so cordial with him. But he should fucking stop.
Cordial is a key word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should stop.
No, he shouldn't stop.
Why?
I mean, even myself, like, I don't know, like I'll talk to any hardware wallet company.
Talking to one is different than, having someone ask a good question from an audience and him saying, well, if you want something that's a little more flexible, like use a ledger. Like if you want something that's going to cost you your privacy, your data, and maybe your coin,
right?
Use a ledger. If you want something that's like, generates a seed offline, the most basic of functionality, by the way, generating a seed offline, there's only one option, I think, right? I don't think Jades do it. That Keystone sent me one of their units. It doesn't generate the seed offline. Or maybe it does actually. It does generate the seed offline, but it's not open source.
So you don't know.
Yeah, you can't tell, right? So I don't know. I just think like, well, who the fuck is what? Who is still going to these devices? Like you said, it's the Best Buy crowd, maybe, but fuck.
Yeah, and like if your hardware wallet's just chilling in a Best Buy for months,
dude,
and there's some shrink wrap on it.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Oh darn! It's really hard to get past that shrink wrap.
Yeah.
Let me just slice that open, bring it home, fuck it up. Shrink wrap it again, put it back on the shelf. I mean, not that
have those things
happening.
Have they been broken before?
No, I'm not going to comment on it, okay. But I don't know. But it's definitely bound to happen, right? Like it's just a super easy attack.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
You would never like Len and I talk all the time about like not even leaving your devices in your home. I can't imagine going to a Best Buy. I mean, again, this is like the uninformed crowd, right? They go to a Best Buy. They're like, I just started my Solana stack thanks to listening to the All In podcast or whatever, right? Like, and now I gotta have somewhere to put it.
I heard they have free food at their meetups, so that's why people invest, because they're like, oh, free food
at Solana meetups.
Yeah.
Didn't they just give out a phone?
I think you have to buy the phone for like $1,000.
Oh my god!
And then you get like some airdrop, right? Classic. Bro, I'm actually gonna take a picture of the phone, incinerate the phone, and then sell the NFT. What do you think?
That's good.
Like that girl that did the diamond. You ever heard that?
If you keep, even if you lose the diamond, you still have it because it's an NFT.
Totally.
That was a major. So she was, I think, on, by the way, like some top 40 under 40 list,
right? For
one of these like fake.
There's really rich dumb idiots.
Yeah.
Dumb people can make money.
It's crazy. You're never as dumb as you think. If you're making $1 million, it's always gonna be someone more stupid.
But like the dumbest thing. Yeah. Take a picture of the diamond, destroy the diamond, and then sell the diamond as an NFT.
She was advocating for destroying the diamond.
Are you kidding me?
The thread was incredible.
Yeah,
that was an all-time moment.
I hope she got ratioed really hard.
I don't know. We have our best of the year show next week. I don't think I even used that last year for my best stuff. That would have been a good one.
That would have been a good one.
A buddy of mine sent me. Do you know who Packy McCormick is?
No,
that's his real name. It's Irish.
Oh, okay.
So,
like I'm like, is it like some like Peter McCormick?
It's not a Peter McCormick name.
Okay, yeah.
Although that is funny. Packy McCormick runs a quote. He used to be like some kind of whatever blogger, and
Yeah.
like many bloggers during the last bull cycle and Web3 hype nonsense shit, started a fund, quote unquote fund,
Okay.
and he called it Not Boring. And we did a deep dive on this guy like early CBP days, and we had a
Cool.
laugh about it. This guy was like selling squiggle NFTs, sparkly something. I forget the number of things he had, but I had like a bunch of screenshots
Squiggle.
that I was like sharing on Zoom with the YouTube chat. Anyway, he just wrote a piece about how he's been really down in the dumps. Everything is stagnated. Nothing in his portfolio is doing well. He's not sure why, blah, blah, blah. But now he thinks hype is returning. And I'm just like, you are fucking so stupid.
Yeah.
You're so stupid. If you think any of the stuff from 5 years ago, 3 years ago, it never comes back.
No.
My warning to the NFT guys, especially these guys in like Pudgies and Bored Apes, is like, if you think you're getting back
That's
to
last cycle.
if you think you're getting back to 50, 100 Ethereum for these, like, you're dreaming. You got to get out ASAP.
Right.
ASAP. And guys like Packy, who are presumably like connected and have other opportunities being thrown at them because they have such a big platform. Like for him to be thinking like this is like, holy fuck, man. What does the average normie think? Probably worse.
Yeah, no, it's just the sunk costs fallacy, right? Like they probably have a huge bag of it. They didn't sell enough of it, and they're just hoping to make back what they thought they could sell it for and get the fuck out of there, right?
He's one of the last people who hasn't been, SIM swapped and had their MetaMask drained by
right.
Yeah.
I was talking about that while you were leaving. And I was like,
why? What happened?
No, I was just saying, I'm a self-custody advocate, and like I'll teach shitcoiners about self-custody so they don't get their wallets drained. At least, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
good on you, right?
Like, I don't think that's a terrible thing. Maybe they deserve it, but like at least they're self-custodying rather than having 100K on a hot wallet on their fucking desktop.
MetaMask.
That's the same thing that's happening with stuff on Bitcoin right now. And I'm like, get yourself a cold card.
Are people using those like hot phone wallets for big amounts of money? I can't imagine they are.
Yes.
Really?
Like a lot.
Like blue wallet, green wallet. I can't. Why?
No. Like new degen wallets.
Oh, fuck. Like what?
Xverse is an example of
what is that?
Yeah, it's just another hot wallet. That they're gonna. It's the same. It serves the same function as any hot wallet.
Sure.
I wouldn't say it's a degen wallet, but I'm just saying they have a nice cute UI for your stuff.
That's the kiss of death right
and
there.
they got your JPEGs. You can sell them right on their app, right? Like you can go in. You can literally go into the web browser on their app and sell this shit online right now. So like I think they're actually doing a really good job because they do see that wallets are getting drained, and this is a big issue right now. And hopefully they integrate Cold Card, just like Sparrow or something like that, so you can sign from your Cold Card to spend something or buy something or whatever you want to do. I don't care. I don't give a shit what you do. Like
Disclaimer.
I'm just going like this. Yeah, I can teach you about self custody.
That's great.
That's basically it. You know what I mean? Like whatever you do with what your sats, it's on you.
What are you doing with the?
At least you're in cold storage.
What's the Sats link? Can you talk? Like, what is that thing?
Yeah.
When is it coming out? And do you have one?
I don't.
I don't
have one. I don't even have a Q1.
I got it. As soon as you have one, you have to come here.
Yeah.
And play with it in front of people.
We'll have two. And
that's
we
the
can,
Q1 I'm talking about, by the way. Yeah.
Okay.
The Sats card. Yeah. Or Sats link. Yeah. Bring two.
Yeah.
So what is it? Like it's like a
comms device. So like the big thing that MVK was talking about at a conference, like a Nostra conference, was that all cell phones are pwned. They have no security, no privacy, no nothing. Everyone knows.
What about the people who say that they have what is that Android? Len uses it.
Oh, it's like ungoogled phone.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like running something else.
I wish I could remember the name of the OS.
Yeah, it's a de-googled phone.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Pwned?
I don't know. I'm not smart enough. I don't want to say yes or no. I'm sure Len would kill me.
Praveen is
Graphene. Yeah. Graphene OS. But no, the Sats link is basically like you have a Sats link, I have a Sats link, but we connect to the Wi-Fi. We can chat. You can have a whole conference full of people with Sats link talking, and it's fully encrypted. So it's not like you're connecting to like iMessage
and
stuff like that.
That's sick.
Which is really cool. I think the way that MVK proposed it was it's a step in the right direction, right? It's not a final product. Well, it is obviously a final product, but it's not like the final version, right? Like the 1, 2, 3, 4, right? The cold card queue. Like we're always upgrading and making things better.
Yeah, you iterate, of course.
So you reiterate, you iterate. So this is like the first version of like a private comms device. So if you want to share, if you want to, create your NSEC for Nostr, or you want to share your NPub to someone, or I don't know, you could maybe send some PSBTs back and forth encryptedly through that, like just like things like that.
Kind of a neat niche device.
It's a niche device, and I'd say that we encourage people to build on it because, like, I believe it's an ESP32. Praveen can probably talk about it a little bit more.
What's ESP32?
It's like a board that is kind of like a general purpose where people.
We should get Praveen to join remote.
Yeah,
we'll send him
literally.
the StreamYard link.
Yeah, so basically, people can like run their own firmware on it. So like we provide the hardware, and then you can run whatever firmware you want on it, and kind of build your own like cool device.
I like that idea.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
Yeah. So again, very early stages, first version of it. We'll see where it goes, but yeah, it just encourages developers and builders to create something for it.
Praveen asking a good question in the live chat and the Cornlord chat. What does CoinKite use for sending emails?
Rackspace.
Rackspace.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Check it out.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like Rackspace. Yeah.
And he says the board is on is an ESP32.
Yeah, ESP32.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, like there was like a 6 minutes SatsLink kind of tutorial with him and Jack Dorsey.
I saw,
doing a quick like hey back and forth. So I mean, like I'm.
So is it? Can I ask? Is it mesh? It's mesh network. Is that what it is? There was apps back in the day. I remember when I first started going to music festivals. Everyone was talking about this app, Fire Chat for iPhone.
Okay.
And originally this is like 2015, 14, something like that. You used to have problems, especially in the nighttime when everyone was there,
right,
sending messages.
Yeah, because there's so many people.
And so they used to say, if you need to get something across, just use Fire Chat, because it basically uses the same tech that like AirPods use now. These mesh networks where you send, and every phone is a hop, right? And so as long as you're close enough to somebody,
right,
you'll get the message.
If you're on the same Wi-Fi,
exactly. Not even the Wi-Fi.
Oh, not even Wi-Fi.
The Fire Chat will use. I think it uses like low frequency Bluetooth or something like that. I forget, or low frequency cell.
Cool.
Doesn't go to the tower, just goes between the devices.
Nice.
Apple banned that from their store, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
yeah, of course, right?
Shocker.
But it does work well.
Yeah.
And so I was curious. I'm like, when I saw that, I'm thinking to myself, is that a mesh network device they're using? So you have to be on the same Wi-Fi to message other devices? Because doesn't the Wi-Fi become an attack vector?
I'd say no. Because it's encrypted.
Okay.
But yeah, Wi-Fi, or if you're within Bluetooth range, maybe. Again, like for me, I don't want to say any incorrect information because I only have that 6-minute video, as well as some small bits of information from MBK.
That's it.
But that's it. Yeah. So I would recommend going to SatsLink Twitter and then just checking out that demo. That'd probably be your best bet, because it even gives you all the specs, and then it gies you some like Venn diagram of kind of like what the goal is, right?
It's
like,
a good video.
Yeah, like there's like security, communication, MK4 is like at the hardcore security, but like you want comms too. So there's a SatsLink in the middle that has a little less security, but still provides what you need for what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't give you too much on it, but
big things going on at CoinKite though. That's great.
Yeah, we're always building, man. We're a hardware wallet company. We build,
I think you guys
really
prefer to call them signing devices, do you not?
Sign devices, well, we're a hardware company. So,
nice.
So we build.
How can I count on SatsLink to connect to the Wi-Fi when the block clock won't? Tell me why I should believe you. I've been hitting reconnect on this thing.
Yeah, I'll
every
set
Monday,
this up for you
every Monday night
here.
at 6:58 p.m.
Oh man,
it never reconnects.
Are you on 5G Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Okay, well 5G doesn't work. You need 2.4 gigahertz.
Oh, maybe I'll go back to my Bell router. Yeah, I got the heavy duty one for the stream.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's why. Okay.
Well, you can have two. You can have 2.4 and 5, I believe. I don't know why it doesn't work with 5. It's just 2.4 gigahertz.
This is pretty bare bones from the connectivity point of view. Probably. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Right. See, that's business on air there. Anything else you want to talk about before we go?
Yeah, well, in terms of CoinKite, I mean, obviously, like I said, we're a hardware wallet company, and we build, affordable hardware that has trade-offs, like the tap signer that's $40. It doesn't have a screen, so it's a blind signer. Think of it like a 2FA.
Yeah.
Rather than like a full-fledged cold card.
Blind signer, great term.
Blind signer. Yeah. So there's trade-offs with that. We're very open about that. But if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of Bitcoin, doesn't want to spend $200 on a cold card, you can buy this for $40 and have a hardware wallet that's much more secure than a hot wallet on your phone,
Way more.
in your pocket, in your wallet, right? And then, you know, we have more advanced stuff like the Q coming out. That's like more hardcore.
I'm hyped on that.
Yeah.
I'll probably wind up buying one. Yeah. Even though I told myself I wouldn't. I will say that, you know, you guys get a lot of shit in comments about the price of the devices, but I mean,
it's like everyone's price. I mean,
also
we got to make a margin.
You got to
right?
make a margin.
Profit.
I would say they're like, you know, sort of industrial chic as well. They look really cool.
Like cyberpunk.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd say cyberpunk. I'd say industrial chic.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're clear, so you can see everything inside. Make sure there's no like
It's
chip
neat.
that's not in the right spot.
I gotta tell you, no one cares about that. But they do look cool.
Fair.
And,
hey, at least you're honest.
They look cool. And I think the one thing I would say to people is the price, even though the price is high, I think what does a cold card cost? $250 US, something like that.
157.94.
197. Okay, so 250 Canadian probably is closer.
Probably like 200 Canadian because 157.
Well,
I mean,
plus you guys charge for shipping too. I think the price all in is about 250.
Sure.
Let's say.
Okay, shipping too.
I would say that 250 price has been the same since that device came out. Meanwhile, what you've seen in the market is every other device have problems, and you guys, even though objectively the value of those devices is getting to be greater and greater as other people fall off, you leave the price the same. So kudos to you guys for that, because you could raise it and it would still be the best device on the market.
And if there's a factory defect, we replace it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Just email us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love to hear it.
You know, some people, you know, they'll get a device, they'll plug it in, and it's like, oh, it's, you know,
doesn't work.
There's no screen. What's going on? So
yeah.
We'll send you a new one.
Nice. Yeah. Great. That's killer.
And that happens very infrequently. I'm just saying.
Here and there, probably.
Yeah. Just saying that at least, you know, if you get a broken
what do you
device,
do? Send me a picture of the screen plugged in.
Yeah, just video. Well, at least a video, right? I mean, pictures people can recycle.
Sure.
Like, send me a picture.
You get the guy you get the guy sending you the picture of the video of the cold card. He's got the cord in there, and then just before it gets to the wall, the video cuts out.
Yeah, right.
I ran out of memory. My iPhone. iPhone.
There's only so much I can send over.
3GS.
Yeah, I know. Jeez.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. But anything else? Is that it? We done?
Yeah, I guess so. We didn't get to talk about you very much. You know, we didn't get to talk about your views. You're interviewing me, but
my views are well known, and I'll say for the future of Bitcoin, I think 100K next year is in play. I think inside 18 months, it's almost a guarantee. And I think once you hit 100K, it's over.
Hop on board.
It's over. Once you hit that number.
Over.
Yeah. I think the ETF does two things, right? The legal clarity in the States, you know, you got this giant market that basically sets the terms for the entire world.
Yeah.
Good or bad. Once you see 100K, that's done. Because the ETF will be in play and all this other stuff. Now, we talked about self-hosted wallets a bit, whatever. Personally, it doesn't matter to me. I'll always buy spot. There's ways to buy spot no matter what. Yeah. I'll share and, you know, echo Odell's message, learn how to buy spot more ways than one now, so that when you need to, you don't have to learn
how to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
But otherwise, I would say, like, you know, it's hard not to be bullish. I wrote a thing on CBP's website like 2 weeks ago. That I had like 15 minutes during the day and was like feeling bullish. I'm like, really, even the Bitcoiners are underexposed at this point.
100%.
There's just
even
no
Brad
way.
was like, how do I want to buy more Bitcoin right now? I'm like, Brad, you have so much Bitcoin. What the hell are you talking about?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You need more.
Yeah, you need more.
You need
There's
more.
no such thing as too much Bitcoin.
And so I would just say to people, like, if you're thinking about hopping on, or like, you know, you can cut back your TFSA, not financial advice, of course, but
yeah, the one thing I'd end with was, you know, MBK says, you know, treat your Bitcoin like it's worth 10 to 100x. So, you know,
great advice.
Right? Like, you know, because it will be.
Yeah,
so like plan your security like that before it's too late.
Consider during the last halving cycle, we were trading at about $3,000, maybe let's say 5,000 after the COVID dip.
Yeah.
Tons of uncertainty, both on the legal framework side, tons of uncertainty about whether or not we're experiencing like a civilization altering pandemic. Tons of uncertainty about whether or not governments would be able to kind of sustain the fiat model for much longer. Tons of uncertainty about like the future of employment and things like that. And all it took was an easing cycle and a halving to get us from 3,000, 5,000, let's say, to 70.
Right.
Now we're trading at 40.
Yeah.
All the uncertainty in terms of like, can you leave your house without worrying about contracting a fatal disease is gone.
Yeah.
Your job, you know, depending on where you work, is secure or not secure, but for sure there's going to be employment for you in a year, no matter where it is. And I think a lot of people are, you know, considering the legal cloud to be lifted at this point.
Yeah.
You got a halving coming up. You got Jerome and the boys signaling ease. Underexposed is the word I would use, I think. Yeah. And
Pack
excited
your
to be the
bags.
other one. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Get on board.
yeah.
Rocket ship.
Fucking, that's
Oh
it.
man.
God bless everyone.
Good time.
We'll talk to you later.